leak it.
Guys, we're live. Welcome back to the Fantasy Hub 2019, 9-3 on a Tuesday. Me and Mike are here. Mike, what's up, buddy?
Take two. Let's go. A lot more energy. A lot more. Krill will tell you about take one sometime if you really want to know.
We'll not discuss it.
A lot of good stuff. So we want to thank everybody for entering into another year of fantasy football with us. Pretty excited. The draft was a blast. Thanks to all those for coming, especially the people that had to travel from out of state. It's probably one of my favorite days of the year. So a lot of fun to do. Krill, anything you want to say about the draft?
Yeah, so I just want to make sure people know that Justin J. Wald won the league for the second time last year. I actually had to speak to Justin before the podcast, and he gave me a quote. He said, he feels great to have won 2 of them, but I haven't accomplished anything until I win 3 and become the first back-to-back champion. Those are the wise words of our champion. So I want to make sure we give him the props for winning last year and kind of see where his mind is at.
Never gonna happen. Back to back.
Yeah, he's got a good team.
I think last time after he won the championship, he lost to me in the toilet bowl after his year of winning a championship. So,
would you take that? Would you take a year of a champion and then next year a toilet bowl?
Would I take winning? Are you asking me if I want to win the toilet bowl this year?
Let's say right now you're guaranteed. You know, the devil comes and he's like, Mike, you could have the championship this year, but next year you'll be in a toilet bowl. Would you take that or no?
No, because I'm likely to win back-to-back years, so I'll pass.
Hell no. Okay, yeah. Let's jump into payouts. People want
to
know.
Hold on. So 2 quick things. 1, I'm going to talk about payouts, and 2, I want to talk about an idea that we have for next year's draft. We're always trying to improve and make it a little bit better. So, as far as payouts go, this is something that we didn't talk about at the draft itself, so I just want to bring it up so that everybody's aware and knows what's going on. 14 teams, $200 a team. That's $2,800 for the prize pot. So here's how it shakes out. The regular season winner. There is a regular season winner. That person wins $400, so they more than double up their money.
PlayStation 4.
That's determined. What's that?
That's a PlayStation 4.
Yeah. Or a 5.
Sure, go ahead. Keep going.
So the way the regular season winner is determined is there are no divisions. There's only one big central standings. So it's the team with the best win and loss record, and then the tiebreaker goes to points for. If we have an identical tie for both record and points for, then we'll split it evenly because that's never happened and it never will. So, yeah. The champion of the actual – so top 6 teams of the 14 that's out there, the top 6 make the playoffs. The bottom 8 go into the toilet bowl. The winner of the toilet bowl will win $100, so they get half their money back for being only half as shitty as the rest of the people in the toilet bowl. Pun intended. And then the champion bracket, 3rd place gets $400, 2nd place gets $600, and the champ wins $1,300. More importantly, you may argue, than the $1,300 is the traveling trophy that you will also win for the year, and the opportunity to choose a new trophy topper if you'd like. We'll see what options are out there. So whoever wins that, we will plan that for the off season. Then you can go steal from Justin's house because God knows he won't win again. Anything you want to add to that, Krill?
Nope. Just like I did last year, I'm gonna do a small prize for the team that's gonna score the most points of our last week.
What? You did that?
Yeah. It was a really cool like signature Derrick Henry card.
Oh,
it's pretty rare.
There's no guys. Spoiler warning: there's no prize incoming. Get excited for that.
It's gonna be big time this year. You guys are gonna lose it.
Unless the winner of that last week has either Kenyon Drake or Derrick Henry, no one's getting shit. So don't.
No. I'll come up with something. Trust me. Last week is gonna be fun.
Last thing we're going to say, and then we're going to jump into our top teams and weekly predictions, is next year, the idea is we want to have a confession booth during the draft. So we're going to try and set up a webcam. I hope they see these emojis you're putting up because they're pretty great. We want to put up a webcam in the room so that when we take breaks, you can go down and do a little 30-second click recording and then we'll mesh those together to make a draft video.
No nude shit, all right, man. I know you guys are gonna get pretty weird, especially Jared. I know Jared's gonna try to steal.
Oh God, we have to have Jared in on it. It'd be perfect. So, just an idea for next year. Let us know your thoughts. With that, we're gonna jump into top teams. Krill, you want to tell them how we decided to break this up?
We're basically gonna do the top 4 teams in order, and then we're gonna do 2 dark horse teams. If your team did not make our list, then clearly you need some work.
There's some teams that need some work.
So pretty straight up. You want to start off with dark horses or?
My favorite part about we're gonna come back to dark horses. My favorite part about this is me and Krill did not exchange these lists. We do not know we're on these 4 teams, so this should be fun to see.
What if they're all different?
Oh, I hope they are. Let's start.
Not.
Let's start with our top number 1 teams and work down.
I promise you, our number 1 team is different.
All right, let's hear yours. Go ahead.
Okay, so my
it's Krill.
My number 1 team is actually Nick.
What?
Well. Yep.
Nick
Seacock. I put some of the notes I have is he's got really good starting running backs that will have bounce back seasons. David Johnson and Fournette. That's just my opinion. He's got really good wide receivers.
Is there another Nick in this league?
Yep. If he gets through the first few weeks, he gets Tate and AJ Green back. Geis he can be a huge difference maker for him. So if you
juice,
definitely Geis. You pair him up with Fournette and David Johnson. I mean, they are kind of touchdown heavy, but there's not a whole lot of weaknesses to Nick's team. I actually think he had Nick's team. I think he had a great draft. I really didn't notice it until I was looking at everybody's teams, and I think he had a fantastic draft. I reached out to my number 1 twice and asked him for a quote as well.
I don't have anybody's. I'm going to start texting everybody right now for quotes.
And at 3:37 p.m. today, Nick said, quote, David Johnson, and I'm going to fuck everyone's dad, close quote.
It's heartwarming, to be honest with you.
Yep. So I just think it's very solid. There's no weaknesses. He's got some depth. And if, Geis turns out, good, and Fournette and David Johnson bounce back, it's going to be a great team.
All right. I'm not going to talk anything about Nick's team because he may or may not come up later in my list. Maybe. So we'll just skip that. My top team is another Sconner. It's the former champ himself, Justin.
Wow.
Justin's back. He's reassembled the squad. He lost a couple of Saints players along the way, but he's got a very good team. And I would probably trade my team for his team straight up if I could. I love it. He's got Jameis.
You offer that or no? Maybe
he wouldn't do it.
Like 50
sure.
fab.
Yeah. Justin, talk with me. Let's see. But he's got Jameis the Rapist Winston, who I think will have a great year. Chris Carson and Sony Michel, both are running back targets of mine. I think that'd be great. He's got solid receivers in Robert Woods, Julian Edelman, Chris Godwin, good value players like Austin Eckler and Devin Singletary. Okay, that's a joke for the Take One people. He's just got a very good team. I think it's very solid. He's got guys who aren't – Sony Michel has had some injury issues, but outside of that, the team should stay relatively intact, and it's got good depth. So, and then how do you – I'm going off of just roster and who's on the team, not these people's abilities to lead a team, but it never hurts when you got a 2-time champ with a good team.
Yeah.
And he got lucky with the whole Buffalo thing and the way that shook out. So now Singletary has a much better opportunity to develop into something and made his team that much stronger. So my top pick's Justin. Krill, who's your number 2?
My number 2 is Justin.
Tell us about the team. You know nothing about it.
Quick notes. Running back depth and Eckler and Singletary can be a big difference for him, especially if they trade Gordon. That's crazy how it's going to shape out.
I don't
He's going to have a lot of depth.
Gordon's not coming back to like week 10 anyway, so
sure.
He's going to have a good.
And then what I put is wide receivers are injury prone and unproven. Like people are like big on Godwin, but he really hasn't done shit. He really hasn't. In the first, if you really look at it, he hasn't done much. They're thinking he's going to break out, but
he's got value. Like Robert Woods and Julian Edelman are good value guys.
Yeah,
Edelman's not so
Woods
injury prone. He's just suspension prone, and Robert Woods has stayed healthy.
Okay,
So
Edelman always gets hurt. He really does. He doesn't get hurt in the playoffs, but in the regular season, he's banged up. He's had a lot of injuries, and he hurt himself in the preseason. And then
this
you
year,
have Godwin's kind of unproven. I mean, he came off a couple times of the field last year with a little nicks and knacks. And then, Sony Michel gets hurt, but it doesn't matter because he's got depth. He's got guys like Jeffrey and Hizbetcha, Nunwa, Beasley, and then obviously Singletary. So I'm not really worried about him. I just put that some of the receivers are like Godwin are pretty unproven and injury prone. Nunwa's injury prone, Jeffrey's injury prone, fucking who else? Oh yeah, Edelman's injured.
I get it. We don't
No.
have to go through everybody on this team, but
Right.
it's a good team. It's got good upside. And in the team with 14 teams and 2 flex, he's got some depth. So
Yeah, he does.
my number 2 team is Kyle Spitzer.
Wow.
I think he's got a lot of star power on this team with guys like Chubb, Tyreek Hill, Stephon Diggs, and then he's got some really good undervalued guys who I don't get why they're being undervalued, like Mark Ingram. No one seems to love this dude. I was the one bidding against him. Half of Spitzer's team I bid against. The other half was Justin's team I bid against. I didn't get any of those guys, but I like these dudes. I think he's got a good squad. Lamar Jackson, if he can learn how to throw a football, will be so dangerous. And he had shit for weapons last year when it comes to receivers. Like he had Crabtree and Willie Snead.
But he's got a bunch of. I mean, he's got a lot of.
I know, but it can't be much worse. Like he's.
I don't know about the whole star power part. I guess Hill. I mean, Diggs is fine. I wouldn't call Diggs a star.
Chubb's a star.
Sure.
And both Tevin Coleman and Matt Breida are risen in value with what's happened with McKinnon and the rest of that backfield. So it's just a good team. John Brown, I love John Brown. I think he's not a star, but he's a good secondary flex guy. I like the team. He's got less depth than he's had in previous years. Like his bench isn't as attractive as it has been before. Like last year, he had a really solid bench. Guys like Chubb and Tariq Cohen who blew up. This year, it's not. It's not the same, but his kind of thing is stock up on running backs, wait for injuries, and then see what shakes out. So I like his team. I think it's set. That's my number 2 team.
Yeah.
Who's your 3?
My third team is going to be you. I put that. Yeah, you actually.
Thank you.
So you have star power. I don't. You know what I'm saying?
I do.
Okay, that's star power. Then I put you have a really good starting lineup, maybe the best starters in the league. Health of Odell and Brown potentially leaving football is a problem. Sanders is unproven, and you don't have much running back depth.
So here's what I wrote. I'm also number 3 for myself, and I said I have star-studded wide receivers in Odell and Brown. Plenty of name power, but risky guys on new teams. Like both Odell Beckham and Antonio Brown are on new teams. So we'll see what shakes out. Miles Sanders, I think, is super talented and could be like a top 10, if not top 5 running back. Has the talent to do that. I don't know if he'll get the opportunity to, and he hasn't proven himself. So there's a lot of stuff to be determined. Cup's coming off an ACL. Breida, what's going to happen with that backfield? I like Josh Allen, but who knows? You just don't know. Can James Conner do it in the second year? There's some doubters out there. I think he's awesome. But, I think the first few weeks will speak a lot to how my season will shake out. I like my upside, but this team could also fall apart and be shit. So, who knows?
My number 4 team, it may surprise you, but it's actually one of my favorite teams when I was looking at it. Not that I want the players, but I think this person did a pretty good drafting. There were some.
I think I know who it's going to be.
There were some mistakes drafting. I think I would have done some different things, but it's going to be Hoppy.
I knew it. I was going to say Hoppy. So
I put that he's got a very strong starting lineup.
Because you like Todd Gurley.
Can Henry pick up where he left off? He's got 2 great wide receivers. All running backs are very touchdown dependent. He's got really good tight ends in Ebron and Vance McDonald. His weakness is literally 2 quarterbacks and 2 defenses. I think that just taking up roster space and poor management. I don't know why you need 2 QBs or 2 defenses. You could definitely. He's got no running backs on his bench, right? I mean, he really has just Murray, Gurley, and Henry. No handcuffs, nothing, nobody. So I'm not sure why. If he switches it up, and lets go of a quarterback in the defense and maybe pick up 2 flying running backs, I'd like his team more, but he's my number 4.
All right, Hoppy's not on my list, but just to chime in quick since we're talking about him, I do like his team. He was in consideration for one of my dark horses. I don't think he has a bad team. He did a pretty good job. I was a little hesitant of Todd Gurley. I don't think Derrick Henry's that great, and I'm afraid of Julio Jones just always being hurt. Same with Keenan Allen.
Didn't
Ebron,
Julio Jones play every single game last year?
he did, but he
didn't
was
miss a
like
single
hurt
game.
for every single one of them too, and you don't know what you're gonna get. And Baker, I think he's super cool. I hope he has a great year, but I don't think he's worth the money that was spent.
So Julio Jones hasn't missed a single game in last 4 seasons, looks like.
Yeah, I feel like he's always hurt.
Yeah, he might be banged up, but he always is productive and he always puts up a bunch of numbers.
I'm just saying, I think there's risk with this team. It's good on paper. We'll see how many of those guys are still.
I think
held in high
Latavius
regard
Murray.
after 4 weeks.
I think Latavius Murray is a super sneaky pick. I think he's going to do really well.
You might need to if Todd
So
Gurley
is
goes
Crowder
Derrick
from
Henry.
the slot. Crowder was already shown rapport with Darnold. I think this is a sneaky team, bro. I'm telling you, it's definitely number 4.
All right.
Okay, I'm coming over. I'm going to fight you.
My number 4 team. Yeah, because now we don't agree. My number 4 team is David. I think David did a good job of drafting. His team is the team of the running backs. He's got 3 starters and Duke Johnson. 3 starters and a Duke. So he's got a lot of upside when you have that many running back options, and running backs are worth a lot. And in a 14-team league, it always helps to have that to start the season with, because you don't know what's going to shake out. It's by no means saying that he's a shoe-in to go to the playoffs or anything, but he's got a good team. He needs more solid presence at wide receiver. Adam Thielen and Sammy Watkins are Thielen's good. Sammy Watkins has upside, but that's not enough because he doesn't.
I think he's gonna have a very slow start,
and his bench is just trash. So
Wow.
Literally, whenever Sleeper puts out an alert about a guy, he picks him up because that's the value of the bench. So he's got some weaknesses, but I think he's set at running back in the most important position on a team. So that's why I have him as my number 4 spot.
I'm gonna piggyback off that, and I'm gonna jump into David. He's one of my 2 dark horses in the league. So I mean, we're pretty close in a lot of stuff here. Just that means he was in consideration, obviously, for the top 4. Just I fell short. I just feel like he might have a slow start, but he can pick it up with some good free agent pickups. And some of the notes I have, I put he's got great starters, but no depth. Bell and Carrion get a good workload. That's a big question mark. I'm a big fan of the 4 starting running backs he has, but it seems like they all split time with somebody. And I wrote in my last note that literally his entire bench is droppable.
Yeah, it is.
He's got nothing. That's the only reason he didn't crack the top 4. If he would have had somebody on the bench that I would have liked, it would have been But his starting lineup is great.
Now, did you order your dark horses or no?
No, I did not.
Okay, I did. So my top dark horse is a team that I think is getting. Well, it depends who you talk to. I've talked to some people who think she has the best team. I've talked to other people who think she has a not a good team. So my top dark horse is actually Jackie. I think she has a great team of value picks and upside players. Guys like Devonta Freeman. I know some people are scared away from him because of his injury, but he's got last year he would have, but he was hurt. But he has that backfield to himself now, and that Falcons offense. The thing that people don't remember about the Falcons is last year they fell apart in the first 2 weeks because half their defense went on the IR. That's a good team. I think they can be good. There's been concerns.
Their offensive line looked like shit.
I know. There's been concerns about that, but you don't want to read too much into preseason. If that offense is clicking and I think they have one of their old offensive coordinators back when they were doing good, Freeman could be a huge value. I've never been a Freeman fan. I've never really liked the guy, but I think he could be good. And then you got Josh Jacobs. He could be garbage. He could be great, but there's upside, and he has the ability to be a bell cow guy. Hopkins is obviously a stud. Lockett, won't he repeat last year that he had? Carson Wentz, can he stay healthy? There's questions about this team for sure, and she's going to need to avoid some injury issues with players like Freeman But if she can, this team has enough upside here to potentially crack in and get a playoff spot. Bench is all, there's no one exciting on the bench. They're not awful, but they're not exciting. So that's my dark horse team number one.
My
Dark
second one in no order, I picked Erica. And I just think that at least half her lineup is crazy. Like, she's got Watson, who's got a new left tackle and a new weapon on offense. She's got Barkley. She's got Cook. I mean, those might be the best running back combo in our league, the 1-2. Then she's got Galladay, Mike Williams. I think Mike Williams is great. He's fine. Evan Ingram, he should have a good season, but we've been kind of waiting on that, so we'll see. Christian Kirk, he's good. Her second flex is a problem. That's why she didn't really crack the top 4 for me. She could put Gio Bernard, Rashard Penny. I don't think he's going to do anything yet. Yeldon, and then she's got Cortland Sutton. She's got a second tight end, Rudolph. I'm not really sure who's going to take that second flex, but if she could figure out her second flex, that could be a good team.
I looked at Erica's team. I thought about it. The reason I didn't, Deshaun Watson should be a stud. He'll be a killer. Her running backs are obviously super talented. Cook's got to stay healthy, but even if he doesn't, she's got the handcuff, so she's set there. I just don't like any of her wide receivers. I think Galladay's overhyped. Mike Williams, I know he's a touchdown guy. I just don't like him.
He had 10 touchdowns last year.
I know. I just don't like these guys. They could be good, and maybe for a 14 team with 2 flex, it'll be just enough with her super talented quarterback and running backs. But not a bad team. Just don't know what's gonna play out. If a guy like Barkley or Cook goes down, it's gonna make it really difficult. So, my second dark horse team is Nick, who, Krill, you had as your top team overall, right?
Fucking right.
Okay, so I mean, he's got great names, and he's also had historically bad luck as a fantasy owner. Usually anybody he drafts just tanks that year. So maybe this will be the year that he can break the curse. Will the Cardinals be good? Can DJ Moore break out? Can Fournette stay healthy? And will the Jags be better with Foles? Will he not punch fans? Will the Falcons block? Will the juice be good, or will it be expired? There's just a lot of questions with this team, but they have a ton of upside. So if he can get positive results on more than half of those, he could have a fantastic team. So,
his team's gonna get better as the year goes on, 100%.
Yeah, we'll see.
They're gonna work Henry in. They're gonna work Geisen. And then Tate and AJ come back. This team is gonna be fire.
So here are the teams that neither one of us mentioned, just so that you can say that we at least mentioned your name in this podcast. Pat, Donley, Briggs, Andrew, and Vice. No, and Krill. You too, buddy. So those are the teams that neither of us had in the top 6. So prove us wrong.
Let's jump into matchups for week 1.
Okay, so one thing we're going to do this year too is when we make these predictions, I'm actually going to keep track of them. And whatever we like, even if our predictions shift as it gets closer to the week, Krill, are we just going to hold to whatever we say in the podcast?
I mean, I don't think so. If we record on Tuesday or Wednesday and at practice Barkley goes down, I mean, I'm going to switch my stuff up.
All right, fair. But
we're going to have to hold each other accountable for it.
Once a matchup starts on Thursday with the Thursday night games, we can't switch.
Well, you can't switch for the Thursday games. You could switch for the fucking. Well, I guess you can't.
No, yeah, you can't.
All right, well.
So, we're going to keep track of these, and we will see who has the better win-loss record or prediction record throughout the year. So let's start it off. The first one that I mean, Sleeper always defaults to putting your team up at the top, so I'm sure my first matchup is me versus Jackie, and I'm sure Krill's is Krill versus Nick. So, Krill, why don't you go ahead and start first with Krill versus Nick? Who do you have?
Okay. So I put that I think if there's a week to beat Nick, it's this week. However, I'm going to lose.
Oh, come on.
No. I said there's too much.
Beat the top team.
there's too much unknown with my team. I just don't know. Jordan Howard and is Sanders healthy? Jordan Howard, Balaj, Freeman, Pettis, all these guys, like my other flex guys, are they going to be good? Is Montgomery going to come out and draw the hype? Is Andrews really a sleeper tight end? The only guys they could really count on right now at this moment is going to be McCaffrey and Cam and Cooper. Are the other guys going to be legit? I think week 1, week 2, week 3 is really going to tell a lot about my team. If I think what they can become, I'm going to have a really good team. But I just have no idea what they're going to do week 1. So that's pretty much it. And I just said, I said Nick's starting lineup is straight hot sauce.
I'm gonna make you feel a little better, Krill. You want to know why?
Why?
Because I agree with you. Nick's gonna get the win. Some of Krill's players have tough matchups, and some have yet to prove they can shine. Kind of like Balaj and Howard. David Johnson should have a big game against Detroit. He should. We'll see. Fournette against the Chiefs, as their now pass catcher as well, should have a big game. I think Nick's. There's just too much unproven with Krill's team. He's going to need a lot of things to go right for it to happen. And Green Bay is not a joke of a defense, and that's kind of tough because he's got Robinson and Montgomery, so that makes it tougher. We'll see how Cam's doing with the ankle. I think he's fine, but yeah, I would take Nick to beat Kirill week 1. So we both agree on that one. All right, let's go into my matchup against Jackie now. We'll knock the two of ours out of the way.
Yeah.
Who do you have winning that one?
So I put Mike versus Jackie. I said close matchup and battle of the high-priced rookies. All comes down to flex. Kupp and Breda surpass D. Jackson Williams. Jackie's bench has more long-term upside than yours. If injuries go her way, watch out.
So you have me winning?
You winning. Yeah, I'm going to have you winning. I mean, look at this. Like, Kupp versus Jackson, D-Jax, right? I mean, that's your favor than Breda versus Williams. Like, Williams is the number 2 in the Raiders. Brand new team. They're going to want to feed Brown right away. You have Brown. I think the running backs are kind of a wash, to be honest. I think Connor's better than Freeman. Odell Hopkins, I mean, whatever. Tight ends are kind of whatever, too. And then Ravens are playing Miami. They don't even have a roster.
So I have Jackie beating me.
You always do this. I hate this. I can't do this. You have to be honest.
I said it's a tough one. I don't really love the matchups for either squad. I think the difference between who wins here is going to come down to how good of a game Miles Sanders does. If this was later in the season, I would pick me to win. But since it's earlier in the season and I don't think the team's ready to fully give him the full workload, I'm afraid that he doesn't have a big game. Josh Jacobs is going to get the workload. Like if our running backs come out to be even, I'll win. No question. But I think hers are going to pass mine just because I think Bill Belichick will shut down Connor. And I don't think Sanders is going to get enough work out there where I can trust Breda to get me the win.
I think it's all about the flex.
What?
I think it's all about flex.
Well, if it is, I have
Breda's playing Tampa Bay. I mean, Tampa Bay's trash. Even if Breda splits, he should have a good game.
I have a better flex, but I think the running backs and the quarterback too. I'd take Carson Wentz over Dak Prescott. So I think it's close, but I give the early nod to Jackie. So Pat versus Donley. Let's talk about the matchup nobody wants to talk about.
You want to hear what I wrote?
Pat's currently projected, as I look right now, he's currently projected 79 points because he's taken out both Zeke and Pollard.
listen to what I wrote on this matchup. Don is a scary player. He's a sneak and untrustworthy. This makes him a deadly assassin. I look at his team. I don't get the running backs at all. Can't help but to feel cold chills that he has something in the works. It will be close, but Don will win. Pat is starting both Cowboy running backs. Don has better tight ends and better wide receivers. But I think Donley is going to win. He's got really good wide receivers. I don't know what's going on with Pat's team. I don't know. He's benched both of the running backs. I don't know who he's going to start. If he starts,
he doesn't know he's going to start. Zeke.
No, if he's going to start, Elliott. I'm not really sure who's going into the other flex. Like no one's good.
I
Like
bet he
literally,
starts both Pollard and Zeke.
I
So
mean
here's
that's
what
not
I
good.
wrote. I said Donley's going to win. I said Donley's wide receivers are better than Pat's running backs. Question mark. Said it's a super close matchup, but Zeke, the issues with Zeke, I think is going to haunt Pat. He might have to start both running backs. We don't know if or when Zeke's going to come back. If he does, what's going to be the workload split? Aaron Jones has to play the Bears. Russell Wilson's against Cincinnati, so do they even need to throw a lot? They're just going to run it 60 times that game.
Just look at Ertz versus Graham. I mean, it's no comparison. You have a star tight end versus a pretty much a nobody, a
Yeah,
cuttable guy.
I'd take D.D. Westbrook over Goodwin. I'd take
Yeah,
Thomas over Boyd. I'd take Adams over Juju. Pat needs his
yeah.
running backs to pull through, and they're not in top form yet. So I have Donnelly as well. All right, next one is Briggs versus newbie Andrew. What do you have for this, Krill?
I put that it's going to be a crazy close one. Briggs will win. Tough matchup for Andrew with Jags versus Patty Mahomes and Mixon going into Seattle. Briggs has a massive running back problem with Gordon joining esports team. He will win and it's going to be close, but I definitely think the running back problem is going to hunt him, especially since he has,
Briggs is starting Devin Funches. It's not pretty.
that's what I said. I mean, and he's starting Moncrief.
Yeah.
So I mean, it's not great. It's like I don't know. I think Briggs is going to win. Only because of the matchups with Mahomes and Mixon have super tough matchups. MVP Mahomes, I mean, it's week 1. Can he be a little rusty? Is Jacksonville back to being a really good defense? I think so. It might slow Mahomes down. It's going to be a close one. I think Briggs is going to do this, but unless he can figure out something or Gordon goes to a different team, I think he's going to start off 1-3, 1-2.
I think Andrew has the better team, but he's got harder matchups. So I have Briggs winning this one. But it's not a lock by any means. And he might have he might have the worst team. It's not very good. His running backs aren't there. His wide receivers aren't enough to support it. So he's going to need some guys to blow up. We'll see what happens. I think this will be close. What the projections are off by less than a point, like half a point. So
yeah, I mean Briggs could do a lot of things for his team. Like he can, if a quarterback injuries start to happen, he could move a big name like Rodgers and somebody else. He can move Kittle if Olsen is actually gonna have a decent season. Like if Gordon gets traded and goes to a different team and starts, like
yeah,
a lot of things can change. But right now it's not great.
No, he needs Calvin Ridley to blow up. He needs Gallup to take the next step, and he needs Jacoby Brissett to be Deshaun Watson for Devin Funches. So
I like Gallup, but he's in a super run team.
You're not going to want to hear this, Krill. He needs Amari Cooper's plantar fasciitis to be a nagging issue.
It's not going to be a problem because Cooper said he played with way worse in college and he played through the whole season, and this is just fine. It's just precautionary.
It's also a contract year for the guy, isn't it?
He's going to finish in the top 5 in fantasy. Write this one down.
So,
promise you.
All right. Next up, we have the battle of the two best teams, in my opinion, Spitzer versus Justin. Krill, Spitz wasn't even on your top 6, was he?
It was not.
Okay, I thought so. Who do you have winning the Spitz versus Justin battle?
So Spitzer team is a definition of home run hitters, is what I have. They can destroy you, or they'll just give you their lunch money. Justin lineup is consistent and strong. Crazy thing is, only one player on Justin's team has an away game. It's Woods. All other players are home openers. I don't know how much you read into that, but if you look at it, I mean that's kind of a big deal. Especially week 1 when there's a lot of nerves and stuff, and you're coming back to football. If you're playing at home and the crowd's energizing, and literally all your players are at home besides one guy, I mean you gotta have some sort of advantage, right? Just think obviously. The thing is Spitzer's team, dude. I'm telling you, they're home run hitters. I just don't know. And guys like Harris, Edmonds, Justice Hill, Brown, right? Are they going to do anything? They're kind of all kind of handcuffs. Harris is the 4th running back on New England. Hollywood Brown, he's a rookie, and they're a super run team. I don't know, man. There's a lot of Baltimore offense, and Baltimore is not like a super offense. They're a big run team. I love Lamar Jackson. Chubb's great, but I mean Diggs barely cracked 1,000 yards last year. He's not in my top six. He's a good team, but I just think Justin is gonna win. I think Justin's gonna win. I would be shocked if he loses.
I have can both teams win? Question mark. I'll give the edge to Spitz as I'm not ready to see a guy like Darren Waller, in a starting lineup. And besides that, love a lot of matchups here. But I didn't look at the home and away splits. You're making me want to change my pick to
You
Justin.
can do it.
As of right now, I will still keep it as Spitz. But this is I think will be the most fun matchup to watch. There's a lot of good matchups week one.
Did you hear? One second. Did you hear that Jalen Ramsey? They asked him about his week 1 matchup versus Hill. Did you see his video?
No.
He goes, "Who? Hill?" He's like, "You talking about the kick returner?" He said he wasn't gonna talk anything this offseason. He's calling him a returner. He's like, "Oh, the returner in their team."
I think week one we have a lot of good matchups. Who knows? And it's fun because no one knows who's good and who's bad yet. But this one I think will probably be the highest scoring between the two teams. I have Spitz narrowly winning, but I think it'd be great. I just think Justin shouldn't have Waller in there, and once he figures that out and gets a real tight end, he'll be a team that'll be very dangerous.
I do think my sleeper player on Spitzer's team is Justice Hill.
To start or just like season long?
I don't know, man. I don't know if he's going to take over Ingram. They could have I think he's going to be like a Kamara Ingram type thing like they did in the Saints. I think Justice Hill is really good.
Well, they have one half of the equation.
I think a couple weeks in, Justice Hill will be in his flex. Just a bold prediction.
Hey, one more Raven. Let's do it. Fire it up.
Just saying.
All right. That leaves 2 matchups left, and then we will end this bad boy. Let's do Hoppy versus Erica. I'll go first since Krill's been giving all of his takes. I have Hoppy beating Erica, which is actually apparently looking at this thing. Erica's supposed to win by 10 points. I said Watson will put on a show, but it won't be enough as Hoppy is able to pull the win. Gurley's still healthy going into week 1. I don't know if he will be for week 2 or 3 or 4, but as of right now, he's still healthy. And as long as he can stay that way, he's got a great squad. I don't think I was in love with a lot of the matchups on either side. Like Watson, I really like his. And I like Delvin Cooks too. But, I just think Hoppy right now has the advantage here. What are your thoughts, girl?
So I have Sleeper gives Erica 67 chance to win. Respectfully, that's dog shit. Right now, Erica read that on my screen and she's like, oh, "You think my team's dog shit?" I was like, "Oh my god, please look at the dark horse portion." But Gurley is healthy. Okay,
Yeah.
he's going in. He's healthy. He's a gazelle. He's running 21 miles an hour, whatnot. I think him and Barkley are going to equal each other out because Barkley's playing a very tough defense. Wide receiver and flex advantage goes to Hoppy for me. And Erica's wide receivers are going to get better as the year go on. And I'm this. Before any drafts, I was always hyped on Williams. I
the
think he's
second and third year players will get better and not regress.
Exactly.
It's just in.
Dude, Marvin Jones gets hurt. Just like last year, Galladay could take over, and Keenan Allen's hurt like every other day. So,
the funny thing about Erica's team when you look at it is Galladay, Williams, and Christian Kirk all have the ability to be like top 10 wide receivers next year if they break out. They all do. They could.
She also, I hate her. I hate her second flex position. I don't know what she's gonna do with it.
Penny might have 15 rush attempts in that game against the Bengals. He might.
I don't know, man. They paid a lot for him. He's a big back. Who knows?
He might. That's a fine week against Cincinnati to have the backup running back. So we'll see. That leaves. So we both have Hoppy winning that. Okay.
First off, a lot of good matchups.
Yeah.
Like, I don't see any blowouts.
No. Nope. And then my last one is David versus Vice, and I have David winning that one. So what I wrote is Vice's team has too much risk, hurt Robbie Anderson. Um, if he plays, will he actually be able to stretch the field? Will he be effective? Is he a guy worth starting? Josh Gordon and the return of him. What are you going to get from him? Who knows? And you have Damian Williams in Kansas City. What's his role going to be? It's probably better early on than it will be later in the season as Sean McCoy becomes better developed with like better used to the team. But I think David's squad gets the W. And I think he pulls out the win this week. This might be maybe this is the most lopsided one of all of them. I don't know. I think Dave wins this stuff.
So I think Vice has the scrappiest team in the league right now. Scrappiest. I said that David is going to win. Shady to Chiefs was kind of a heartbreaker. Let's be honest. If you put all your stock on Williams, he's going to.
Yeah, that's tough.
I mean, that hurts because you were still kind of like, oh, he should be the guy, but then there's this rookie. Andy Reid already called for a split. Kamara can literally outscore both of David's starters. He literally can because they're going to work Bell in slowly, and they're saying C.J. Anderson might take away goal line carries from Kerryon Johnson. He can outscore them.
Yeah.
I don't think that's enough. You can't just, it's not all about Kamara. The matchup to me actually seemed pretty even. But if Thielen shines, he will blind Vice to victory. I think Thielen is literally the difference maker.
If Shady didn't sign with the Chiefs and Robbie Anderson was healthy, I would maybe pick Vice to win. But I think those two things are the bigger ones and then you just don't know with Josh Gordon.